Season Conquest. I think that's exactly what I saw on Mafu stuff too, right? I just found your channel. Do you have any Rally Commander tier list video? Just watch the Garrison tier list. Alright guys. What's going on everyone? Welcome back. Shinomusu Gaming here, and today out of requests of our new and the latest subscriber, Christian Palion. Thank you for suggesting, as I was wondering what to do. We're gonna do the best rally tier list in Rising Kingdoms as of November 9th of 2025, guys. Best rally tier list. I think I've done one of those, but maybe I'm not really sure. Maybe I wasn't able to find this, so we'll go ahead and do one right here. We'll add one more above. And there has been some change in my opinions, even if I did make one last time. Because of how Shapur Ashurbanipal did perform against Gorgotok, right? So we're gonna go ahead and make those tier lists. Now, let's go ahead and find out. I don't think we need another row actually. So let's first define our tier list, guys. I think we should just go ahead and start from SS. Double S tier. I don't think there is a triple S tier right now in Rise of Kingdoms for a rally, just because of the fact that like there isn't a single rally that can beat everything, right? There isn't a Gorga Tokugawa. Let's just be 100% just bluntly straight up. There is no Gorga Tokugawa for rally or garrison. There's not one single garrison that beats everything, right? So even Shapur Ashurbanipal does lose to Gorgo Tokugawa in trade. We just saw this happen in Chisco's balance mode testing in Ark of Osiris. So there is no triple S for rally. It is a garrison meta. We just gotta start off by acknowledging that this is a garrison meta at the end of the day, right? Yes, I need this for my K2 account. Let's go. So SS just means that most best rally of the troop type. So, for example, we'll put the best cavalry rally in there, best infantry rally in there, best archer rally in there, and so forth. S means that best rally alternative. So let's say there is a way for you to kind of, play around with your rally stuff. If you don't have the most meta rally commanders, what could be the alternative? What could be the situational better version of those? I think could be S tier. And A tier is usable meta. So now, the reason why this is a little different from yesterday's tier list is simple. It's because rallies in Rise of Kingdoms should always aim for the best results whatsoever, right? So even at the A tier list, it does not get down to, okay, well, like, it is meta. No, if it's not the best or the second best alternative, it is barely usable at the end of the day. That's just the nature of rally, in my opinion. So, hence, we'll say A tier is usable. And then the B tier is gonna be very niche rallies. And then C tiers is used, but not for not competitive. There you go. I think that's pretty fair, right? If you have C tier for not competitive, then that's fair. Now, what do I do with the D tier and the F tier? No, we're not throwing these away. Actually, let's just go ahead and remove C tier, because I think once you get to very niche rallies, like you're done with rallies. Like if you're not even in the very niche rally section for for rally and garrison, like you're done. Like you're not gonna rally with that. If you're rallying with that, you probably shouldn't be a rally or garrison league, in my opinion. So let's just go ahead and move on to this one, and let's go put this as a K2, KVK2, S tier rallies. And then we'll just go ahead and put in KVK2, A tier rallies. And then for here, we'll do KVK1, A tier rallies, KVK1, S tier rallies, and then A tier rallies. A tier rallies. Alright, so we cover KVK1, KVK2, and then Season of Conquest, SS tier, S tier, A tier, B tier. Okay? Anything below B tier, honestly, is like really not worth mentioning for KVK1 and 2 because you're not going to be building those commanders. Is that fair, everyone? Does everyone agree with this? I think this is pretty fair. Let's go ahead and move on, guys. Alright. Let's start from the very top. Double S tier. Best rally for troop type. This is gonna be pretty easy. Where's Attila at? Where's our boy Attila? Well, let's actually move over all the rally garrison commanders first. Like obviously we'll need Shapur. Start from the very top. Obviously, one of the best rallies that we'll be able to find in the game is Attila Subutai. Now, why Attila Subutai when it trades so negative against Gorgo Tokugawa is simple. And just for your reference, guys, I am a rally lead that has spam used my Attila Subutai. And obviously, I have one of the best Attila Subutai setup in the game right now. And I have won KVK with them. I have won against Gorgo Tokugawa. I have lost multiple times against Gorgo Tokugawa. Everything else I have destroyed against in my last couple KVKs, last several KVKs. Ever since Attila Subutai became a thing, I came out of my shell of being a garrison lead for Eleanor Terra, and I just became a rally lead for Attila Subutai. I've used Arch setup. Well, I had one of the best Arch setup in the game right now. Until I converted over to Delta, and I have used both. And here is my assessment on Attila Subutai. Attila Subutai is the best cavalry rally, hands down, that only gets defeated by Gorgo Tokugawa. If you have a good enough of a rally lead as Attila Subutai rally lead, you will not lose to any other garrison except Gorgo Tokugawa is my assessment. I don't care if it's Gorgo and Hera with full pincer. You can beat those quite easily. But if you have the best Attila Subutai, you will lose to a mediocre Gorgo Tokugawa. As a matter of fact, if you watch one of the latest balance mode testing that Chisco has done in a balance setup, Attila Subutai loses 2-to-1 trade. So Attila would take half of the kills of Gorgo Tokugawa when you just raw rally against Gorgo Tokugawa with Attila Subutai, right? With even setup. So if you have even like level of equipment and armaments, and you go against full-on force against a Gorgo Tokugawa, you'll lose 2-to-1 trade basically all the time. Gorgo Tokugawa is just that OP. But everything else in Rise of Kingdoms, every other garrison that you'll be able to find in Rise of Kingdoms, Attila Subutai will be able to beat. It's my assessment. And I've seen this happen all the time. And I think that's a pretty fair assessment of what the current best meta for garrison is. So Attila Subutai does deserve an SS spot here, in my opinion. Let's just go ahead and move on. All right, Shapura Chevelin Paul also does deserve. I'm gonna move around these guys. afterwards, so just don't mind where they are right now. But Shapur Ashvinapal is also a great rally right now. But personally speaking, guys, speaking, and let's take a look at Shapur's kit to kind of talk about why he's good, right? Shapur, although I didn't even have it unlocked, has this passive skill. Where's the shield blocking? Yeah, so, no, active skill. So when you have Shapur as a rally lead and you use your active skill with Shapur, it would actually prevent the enemy from receiving shield impact for the next 2 seconds. This mechanics is actually designed specifically to counter the mechanism that Tokugawa brings into the game, where he takes 600 damage factor of Mighty Shield on top of 1200 damage factor of Mighty Shield with his first skill and his fourth skill. Now, with that said though, this commander is designed so that rallies can eventually beat Gorgo Tokugawa, and Gorgo Tokugawa only. So this rally is actually made as a counter to Gorgo Tokugawa, or at least Tokugawa, or Hera. With that said though, from personal experience, I think in real life scenarios, well-reinforced Shapur Ashvinapal will trade evenly against Gorgo Tokugawa is what I've seen. As a matter of fact, in the most recent Chisco's, and I keep going back to this because this is the one that I just watched most impressively. The most recent video that Chisco has posted on his video with like Arc of Osiris test balance most testing. Actually, Gorgo Tokugawa will win slightly against Shapur Ashvinapal, despite the fact that they are made specifically to counter that Gorgo Tokugawa meta. So for that reason, I think Shapur Ashvinapal should have been made a lot stronger. In my opinion, especially the Shapur side, like Ashvinapal was there from the beginning, so Ashvinapal is not really at fault here. I think Shapur Ashvinapal should have been made much better, so that it would actually just kill anything that does any shielding, or even like just do enough damage so that it would beat Gorgo Tokugawa. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but it is still the best rally lead for archers, in my opinion. So that's basically what that is. For infantry, it gets a little tricky, but I think the best rally lead for infantry currently is Scipio Aemilianus with William Wallace. Now, you might be wondering, oh well, isn't Scipio Aemilianus with like Tariq Ibn Ziyad better? No, well, here's the thing. Like for infantry, I think the best formation for infantry is actually pincer, and whether or not you can actually maximize your value of pincer or not actually does determine how well you do on the field, how well you do on the rally or garrison setup. And for you to actually maximize that, you need 2 smite damage dealing commanders. And for that reason, Scipio Aemilianus and William Wallace actually does better, in my opinion, than Tariq Ibn Ziyad and Scipio Aemilianus, in my opinion. I could be wrong, but that's just what I've observed so far in the game. By the way, what do you think about the new cavalry commander? Worth investing? For Kangam-chan, I think you can treat it like a Shazar. If you're building 2 Delta set, I think it is worth investing. If you're not building 2 Delta set, I would say you don't need to. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I could be wrong. But I think Kangam-chan is optional. It's gonna be good to have for sure, just like how Shapur is. But the other ones, the David, I think you need to get him. Like for if you're a cavalry main like myself, yeah, you need to get David regardless of whether you want to get it or not. Like that's the only chance of you getting combo damage dealing garrison it is what it is. I think for garrison setup, like you don't really have a choice. If you're a rally or garrison lead for cavalry, you need to get David. I think he's okay though. But yeah, so that's what I would put at the SS tier. Now, do I want to put Shapur Ashurbanipal above Attila Subutai? Previously, I would have done it. And I think on the last tier list that I did for the best rallies tier list, and I think I've done one very recently, like 3 months ago, 4 months ago. I think I did put Shapur Ashurbanipal above Attila Subutai. But what I've seen in the last couple KVKs was simple. For one, Shapur Ashurbanipal is much weaker against a swarm, against your rally. And also at the same time, it is actually not even trading that much positive against Gorgo Tokugawa, right? And if in balance mode, if it doesn't trade positive against Gorgo Tokugawa, then, you know, by design, Shapur Ashurbanipal has failed to done what its sole job is, in my opinion, so that I'll actually put it below Attila Subutai at this point. Like, you guys can call me if I'm cavalry simpleton or whatever, but Attila Subutai, I think, is just more versatile. The fact that it beats all the other garrison is a win, right? It beats Eleanor Hera, it beats Gorgo Hera, it beats, I don't know, Choyong Hera, or any variations of Choyong. Attila Subutai beats all those things. But if you're looking at Shapur Ashurbanipal, it does trade evenly against Gorgo Tokugawa, which is a big thing. Which is, I'm not trying to discredit that. If you can trade evenly against Gorgo Tokugawa, which is the most overpowered, disgusting garrison that you'll find in Rise of Kingdoms, I think Shapur Ashurbanipal does lose his first spot against Attila Subutai, especially now, because we just had David IV announced into the game. And if David IV does go into garrison meta, I think Shapur Ashurbanipal's future does look kind of little worse until they have another rally pair for Shapur, in my opinion. I'm in pre-KVK 3 right now, and I need a pair for Arthur. I'll probably get Achilles then. Yeah, I'll suggest that that is the best right now. So those are the main rallies that I'll run on these troop types. I don't think there's any variations even for infantry for that. Let's just go ahead and move on to S tier. Best rally alternatives. Best rally alternatives for cavalry. Like, I'm not even gonna put Justinian in there. Like, it's just not worth it. Yeah, Nevsky Justinian is not. It's not S tier. You cannot use Nevsky Justinian. Although, I will say, best alternative for infantry is going to be Scipio Aemilianus with Tariq ibn Ziyad. It's not going to utilize the full value of Pincer because Tariq ibn Ziyad does skill damage, but it does provide you a little more anti-swarm ability because if you do swarm Tariq ibn Ziyad would actually do more damage. So a lot of people actually has done Tariq ibn Ziyad mixed up with Scipio Aemilianus, and they do use those in rally setup lately. So that is one thing that I've seen happen. I think a lot of people for archers have run Henry V and Ashurbanipal. I think those rallies could work. I don't think I can actually put him at the S tier though, because the S tier is such a hard place. I'll probably use it at an A tier. It is usable. It's not recommended. It is what it is. It's my opinion. Now, do I think Subutai Achilles can make it to S tier? Because I tested this rally, right? On Arc of Osiris. Because Achilles' skill, I think only except for one of them, can kind of work on rally setup, I believe. I think the fourth skill is the only one that doesn't really benefit from rally. But I think it still doesn't solve the core issue of not being able to beat Goro Tokugawa at the end of the day, right? Because if you look at Achilles' kit, his expertise / third skill does not trigger off of smite damage, right? So he cannot spam his active skill like he would be able to against things like, I don't know, Eleanor Hera. You will be able to spam this all the time with Eleanor proccing the heck out of her active skill. And what else? If the David is actually going to be in the new rally mix, new garrison mix, I think Subutai and Achilles could work against David. But aside from that, like, it still doesn't fix the core problem that we had before. And it is a lot less tanky in terms of, it is a lot more swarmable than Attila Subutai. Now, do I think this is better than Scipio Aemilianus and Tariq ibn Ziyad? I think so. Because it at least does pretty good job of utilizing the delta and at least wins against anything but Goro Tokugawa, I would imagine. So that's what I would do here. That's what I'll do here. I'll put it at the S tier. I think it is usable, but I don't think it's really that amazing. Like, it's not as good as Attila Subutai, in my opinion. Yeah. Well, we haven't tested it, but the core question of whether or not it can beat Goro Tokugawa is not solved. I don't think it will win against it. So, it is what it is. Alright. With that said, let's move on to archers. Now, I know a lot of people actually tested out Qin Shi Huang. But I don't think Qin Shi Huang is really that good as a rally lead, in my opinion. The only thing that it does really good job of is just killing anyone that is around the rally, right? But I don't think it does enough focus DPS against the rally or garrison. So I don't think Qin Shi Huang can be an S tier, in my opinion. With that said, though, I think Henry Ashurbanipal can actually make a spot here. Yeah, it is an alternative. A lot of people uses it as a counter, kind of like, what do you call it? Anti-swarm rally for archers. I think that is pretty good. Henry has a lot of counterattack damage built into this. I think we can actually use him. Alright. And you know what though? I'll actually adjust this. I think this is a... Yeah, I don't think we need the B tier for this. Then we'll just combine it to niche or usable rallies. Yeah. Because like, as a rally lead, you're not going to really use anything really trashy at the end of the day. It is what it is. You're not going to use... yeah, actually... Yeah, never mind. But let's add a row below. But we'll just call it B... Niche out of meta rallies. There you go. Yeah, I think B tier is necessary because some people will still run Nevsky Justinian as a rally in 2025. I don't know why, but they do. So it is what it is. Alright. Now, usable rallies. A tier, I think some people use Attila with Charles Martel. I know this is kind of a weird thing, but they use this rally for one reason and one reason only, so that you can actually do a counterattack damage rally, a counter rally, right? And the thing about counter rally is that when you launch a counter rally against an enemy troop, what this does is that this rally would actually just go and do more damage to the rally, so that the rally would actually die itself, right? The problem with that is that you're actually going to end up in the enemy territory where there's a lot of swarmers. Most likely you'll see Attila charge Martel as a counter rally against a pass swarm rally, right? So if you guys hold the pass, the enemy's rallying your pass, and if you use Attila charge Martel to counter rally that, then you'll take. A lot of people are going to be very hesitant to swarm that rally, just because it does so much counterattack damage, right? If you look at Attila has so much normal damage and counterattack damage built in with his active skill. And also Charge Metal, which I don't really have maxed out just because of the fact that I use him for swap. He has built-in 30% counterattack damage too. And even without Relic, I think a lot of people will still use Attila Charge Metal as a counterattack rally or a counter rally, and it is usable rally, in my opinion. And what else is there? What else is there that is usable rally? Tadic Ibn Ziyad. I think Pakal. No, not Pakal. Yeah, actually, you know what? I think Tadic Ibn Ziyad and Pakal is a usable rally. So this is a very anti-swarm rally too, but for the infantry version, right? Pakal is a very interesting commander that actually takes less damage, I think. Let's go ahead and go to infantry. You guys can see that I did not build Pakal, but his force skill is very interesting, right? He has 10% less damage taken as a default. And if your troop is on the map and surrounded, it gains extra damage reduction up to 6 troops. So if you're getting mass swarmed with Pakal, you gain up to 40% damage reduction with Pakal. And for that reason, along with the fact that Tadic Ibn Ziyad does additional damage factor when he is surrounded, and that goes up to what? Yeah, like this skill goes up to what? 3400 damage factor, single target, when you expertise Tadic Ibn Ziyad. Like this rally right here actually does work as a counter anti-swarm rally, in my opinion. A lot of people use it. We have seen it before. It's not too bad. And I think here we can technically put in things like Qin Shi Huang and maybe Asher Venipal. Or what else could be a Qin Shi Huang rally? Zhuge Liang? Where's Zhuge Liang at? Qin Shi Huang and Zhuge Liang? I've seen that rally before. It kind of does the same job, in my opinion, as basically all these other guys. I don't think Zhuge Liang should be it now. Yeah, I think Qin Shi Huang and Asher Venipal, a lot of people use it for rally setting with archers. And what it does, it actually does whatever Qin Shi Huang does for the field. But it will do it for all those armies that are surrounding your rally. So it kind of does the AoE damage to anything that is approaching the objective that you're attacking, which does include a lot of reinforcements, right? So if you have Qin Shi Huang, Asher Venipal in there, it will just kill a lot of reinforcements. It will look like you have really, really good reports. But technically speaking, I would say Shapur Asher Venipal is still the better rally, right? But it is usable. I've seen it work before. But I don't think I can put it in an A tier. I think I need to put it in a B tier. In all honesty, it's not something that you should be using, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that's where I'll put it. If you want to use Qin Shi Huang variation, it doesn't have to be Asher Venipal. It can be Zhuge Liang. Yeah, I would say just go ahead and use it as a niche. I think Shapur Asher Venipal does a better job. And archers, like main rally metas, archers' sole purpose is for you to break into Gorgo Tokugawa. What this does is does a lot of AoE, but this one Chapeau Asher Paul does his job of just attacking that one target, which is what the rally is supposed to be meant for, right? That's why Henry was in the meta for so long, because he does really good job of doing a lot of damage to one target and punishing anything that does attack you. So that's what I would put it. As a matter of fact, would I put it above? I think I'll put this above Scipio Aemilianus and Tariq ibn Ziyad, in my opinion. Yeah. That's what I'll do. And do we have another Asher Venipal here by any chance? I think I might need another one. Let's go ahead and add another one. Do I have an Asher Venipal? Oh no. I might not have another Asher Venipal here. Oh, there you go. And I think a lot of people actually do use Asher Venipal Zuyeliang as a niche rally. I think it works to a degree. But it's not something that I would really recommend at the end of the day, for the same reason. Your purpose as a rally should be breaking that structure that you're attacking. I think Chapeau Asher Venipal does his job the best. Henry Asher Venipal maybe secondary the best. Outside of that, I don't think it really works. And any variation of Asher Venipal, I don't think I should recommend you using Asher Venipal with anyone else, because Asher Venipal's skill set works specifically is made for Asher Venipal as Chapeau. So if you want to use Chapeau to its maximum potential, if you look at Chapeau's kit, he has this skill. If this commander is leading a rally, whenever their rallied army gets a buff, it has 25% chance, 50% chance to get 100 rage, and gain 30% skill damage bonus for 3 seconds. Now, Asher Venipal is the only commander that actually has regular source of buffing built in my opinion. And that's why Chapeau Asher Venipal works really well. I don't think you should use any variations of Chapeau plus Alpha at this point in game, because no one else actually has this regular, like, sustainable for source of buff built in than Asher Venipal, in my opinion. So that's why I would say Chapeau Asher Venipal should just be used with Asher Venipal, in my opinion. Now, I know some people do use Nevsky with Justinian. Do I want to put him there though? Do I want to put him at a B tier? Because so the reason why a lot of people use Nevsky Justinian is simple, because they did not make 2 separate garrison armaments, which is fair, right? They didn't really. The Delta or Arch is now the new meta for cavalry. If you have Attila Subutai, then you'll have either Arch or Delta. And if you haven't swapped over to Arch or Delta and you are using Eleanor Hera, some people will still use Nevsky Justinian as a rally lead. And it is a real rally that people use nowadays. Do I think it's a good thing? No. You should not. If you're a rally lead, you should never open a rally with Nevsky Justinian in 2025, in my opinion. That's just how I feel. So what I'll do. Do I have a monument image? Do I have a monument image? By any chance? No, I don't have any images that I can use. Do I not have RIP? Really? No way. No way. There's no way I don't have a single RIP image. Oh no, never mind. That's a different one. Let's add a monument image. Yeah. Let's add a monument image right next to Nevsky Justinian. Yeah. Attila, yeah, Attila Takeda is actually usable for one reason and one reason only, and that is if you're rallying cities. If you're using Attila Takeda, you actually will take a lot more sev wounds. Hence, you'll be able to actually fill up the enemy's hospital a lot better. So Attila Takeda is actually not that bad of a rally for that one specific reason, and that is for city rally. Now, would I rally with Attila Takeda in 2025? No, I'll just use Attila Subutai and I'll just run twice. But Attila Takeda does have its use, and it does have advantages against other rallies in the game. So, personally speaking, I think Attila Takeda does deserve a spot in the niche or out of meta rallies because it does have its use and advantages against some situations like city rallies. So I'll leave Attila Takeda over there, not going into the ripped area because Nevsky Justinian I don't think you should be using in 2025. Alright, that was a long list of rally meta in Season of Conquest. Now let's just go ahead and move back to KVK Season 2. Best S tier rally is simple. I think it is still going to be Edward the Bustock with Tamaris for archers. Obviously, if you're KVK 2, you're less likely to have Edward the Bustock and Tamaris as an option for you because that means that you had just wasted a bunch of different gold heads into Edward the Bustock and Tamaris. But for those of you who are mega whales who has unlimited funds in the game, you have max purchase all your gold heads from day one of your game up to KVK 2. This is an option that you can consider. Edward Woodstock combined with Tamaris technically would probably be the best rally lead in KVK 2. Period. You don't really have a better alternative. It is what it is. Now, for infantry though, I think there is a rising star that you can consider, which is Pierce combined with CJ. Now, do you want to put CJ in the front, maybe, for smite damage tree? I think that might actually not be a terrible idea, but I think Pierce's normal damage buff comes from active skill, so unfortunately, it is a trade-off, right? Pierce has defensive tree, so you might need to use the infantry tree if you do want to use Pierce as a rally lead. But that normal damage buff of 20% is no joke. So let's just go ahead and change the order again. Yeah. Pierce CJ. This is one of the latest KVK 2 meta that I think it might be. Yeah, I think that might be really powerful. Especially when you're building like something like Pincer in KVK 2. If you're just building the armaments, obviously you're not going to have the best of the pincers, like, power unlocked by having the special inscription on the first slot and the second slot. But still, Pierce CJ I think is a really good rally for KVK 2, in my opinion. It just does really good job. Like, if you look at both of their kits, let's take a look at both of their kits, right? Pierce. His active skill will do 1400 damage factor with 20% normal damage bonus. Now, what 20% normal damage bonus does is two things. For one, it will make it very anti-swarmable. It will make it very strong against swarms. So it will make this rally a very good anti-swarm rally. Because if you attack something that has normal damage bonus, guess what? You're going to take a lot of counterattack damage from rally, right? What is really a shame, though, is the fact that he does direct damage instead of smite damage. But the 20% normal damage bonus would actually amplify what CJ will do in the coming active skill cycle for CJ, which will do spike damage. So this is really, really good skill. Second skill, it does have also, when you're outside of territory, you deal 20% more normal damage bonus. Now, 20% normal damage bonus, again, does two things. It would make it less likely to be able to be swarmed against swarmers in a rally setting. Also, at the same time, it will also buff what CJ does with his active skill, right? So very, very strong skill to be paired up for CJ. And then third skill, if this commander's troop is on the map, which means that when it's in the rally setup, it will be able to use this, you get 20% attack and 500 shield for yourself whenever you use basic attack with 10% chance with for 3 seconds with cooldown to 8 seconds. Very strong skill. Shielding is really, really good in any scenario when you're rally garrison, because it is going to take a while for you to get that shield off, especially if you're swarming that. In the meantime, you also take all the normal damage buff that you'll get, and the counterattack damage that is buffed by normal damage buff at the end of the day. So this is really good skill, in my opinion. Fourth skill, this commander's troop takes 20% less skill damage. Oh, guess what? KVK 1 and KVK 2, except for infantry marches, would almost always do skill damage. So taking 20% less skill damage is amazing. Also, at the same time, you'll do 10% more damage if you have a shield, which will be when you have this activated. Overall, very, very good skill, I would say, just from the fact that it has 20% skill damage reduction. Expertise. Whenever this commander is using a basic attack, it has 10% chance to reduce the attacker's attack by 30% for 3 seconds. This is really good if you're actually attacking something, especially something like a structure. You'll have 10% chance to reduce this attack. If you time this right for the active skill, you'll take a lot less damage, right? So Pierce, I think, is a really good commander for rally. The only problem that he has is just that his skill tree is not really a skill tree or smite tree. So that's the only downside of Pierce as a rally. But and the fact that his active skill being normal damage bonus forces him to be in the front of CJ for maximum damage uplift at the end of the day. Yo stranger, how's it going? Chakchungyong, CJ. CJ does 1500 damage factor of smite damage, and if the target has less than 30% of units remaining, it also silences the target for 1 second. Out of box question, yes, go for it. Very straightforward. The only smite damage commander in Rising Kingdoms for KVK 2. Smite damage is amplifiable with smite damage amplifying armaments, which is really, really good. 1500 damage factor does sound low, but it does not get reduced by skill damage reductions like what Purist has or what Saladin has, which makes this almost like a true damage for KVK 2. So I think this is a really, really good skill. And the fact that it has a little bit of silence added to it towards the end is also really good. What do you think of Arthur and David as an open field march instead of Hector? Personally speaking, I would not separate Arthur and Achilles. Even for me, like I have a spare Arch and Delta setup. I have the main Delta setup. That looks like this, right? I have a spare Delta setup that looks like this. I have an Arch setup that also has the use potential if I just reroll this. Even for me, I don't think I would ever separate Arthur and Achilles. I know that if you want to use 2 Delta setup, you want to use Kangam-chan with Achilles and Arthur with someone else, which is going to be either Hector or maybe David as an open field. But yeah, I would just go ahead and use Arthur Achilles. I would not use 2 Delta setup. It's my opinion. And I'll just wait for the next cavalry release. I'm planning to use Kangan-chan and Achilles together. Yeah, that's fine. And it will work. I think Kangan-chan and Achilles will work. One of the reasons why I put him at the A tier for my last open field commander tier list is because I think he's usable with Achilles. Would it be better than using Arthur? Would it be worth splitting Arthur with Achilles? I'm just not too sure about it yet. And I'll have to build Hector either way because I'm a Garrison lead, right? And David would have to go paired up with Hector if you want to use him as a Garrison lead for Delta. So I'll give you my opinion after I test those out, but personally speaking, I'll just go ahead and stick with using Arthur Achilles, is my opinion. Yeah. But anyways, thank you for stopping by and asking that question. But yeah, KVK 2 S tier. So for those, yeah, we were just reviewing CJ. My apologies, guys. CJ. Yeah. Second skill, attack bonus 40%, Mars speed 15%, everything a rally commander will need. And expertise / thirst skill. If this commander troop is on the map, whenever it takes skill damage, smite damage, or combo damage, it has 50% chance to reduce the damage by 50%. This is why he is actually really usable for either field or rally, because it is so tanky. If you have 50% chance to reduce skill damage, you know, smite damage, combo damage, you know, like if you're 1v1 against a Garrison, this is really good. As a matter of fact, if you're going against something like Charles Mattel YSG, guess what? If you have 50% chance to reduce the damage of that skill by 50% on top of having 20% extra skill damage mitigation from Pierce, you're gonna almost take no damage from this, right? And the trigger chance on this is no joke. 50% is a lot. And then it will also deal smite damage up to 3 enemies in effect with 500 damage factor. This is like kind of compensating for the fact that he's not having too much smite damage factor in the active skill. So this is really good. This is really good. Although the cooldown is 10 seconds, kind of being high. But I think this is a really good skill. I think that's why, this is why Pierce CJ as a rally does work. For skill, if this commander's only infantry, you gain up to 15% normal damage bonus when max. And whenever it launches a basic attack against field troop, it has a 50% chance to cleanse. So just taking a look at it here, you do not really get to utilize the second part of the skill, but it doesn't really matter. You just get 15% normal damage bonus. That is all you need. That's going to amplify your smite damage. That's going to amplify your counterattack damage. It is busted how good this is. And as a matter of fact, I might even put these guys above Edward and Tamiris after I see how well they perform in my next KVK on my max level Nivea account. I'm just a little hesitant because of how strong Edward and Tamiris has been in the game so far. But Pierce and CJ is like the new infantry meta for KVK 2. No doubt about it. It's S tier by far. And yeah, I think that's really good. Now cavalry though, I don't think there is really that much options that you can use as cavalry. I think the only option that you have is probably Saladin and Khan, if you have Khan, which I don't recommend, and which I also don't recommend you maxing Saladin in KVK 2. I would say 5551 is more than enough for you to use Saladin. So cavalry, if you're cavalry lead, a cavalry rally lead, I would just say you should probably use. You should just try to field, in my opinion. As a matter of fact, I think I would just move it down to A tier. I don't think Saladin Khan actually deserves to be in the same tier as those two guys. Yeah, I don't think cavalry is really meant for rallying at the end of the day in KVK 2, in my opinion. I did arc, and the trades were directly good, decently good. However, I did find it to be squishy though. Carry on, yeah. And what else? KVK 2 A tier rallies. I think you can technically use like Saladin with Minamoto if you want to use it, and potentially Saladin with YSG is probably the last one that I'll put there if I find Saladin. Yeah, there you go. Saladin and YSG. Yeah. If you're running infantry rallies, you should just run pure CJ all day. If you're an archer rally, I would say you should run Edward the Listov with Tamiris all day. If you're cavalry, I think you should do a variation of those three. And I think that's probably it. Now for archers, I think you can potentially use. Where's our man Tutmos at? Where's our man Tutmos? Tutmos, where are you? Did I not bring wait, there you go. You can technically use Tutmos and YSG too. Like, if you don't want to invest in Tomeris and Edward, Tutmos at YSG I think is fine. It's still usable. It's just not S tier. But it only makes sense, right? If you didn't go to an extent to invest all your gold heads into Edward and Edward and Tommy in KVK 2, obviously you're gonna trade worse, you know, using the same setup that you use in KVK 1, right? But Tutmos YSG I think is still kind of usable at the end of the day, in my opinion. I think we can run Saladin. I think we ran Saladin YSG for all cav rallies in KVK 2. Yeah, Saladin YSG is really good. As a matter of fact, I think I should put him be above Saladin Mina, because like in KVK 2, guys, like the AOE is like no joke. Everyone's gonna be actually scared of the AOE, and no one really rallies or garrisons off of a different alliance, right? So watching out for rally AOE is actually a big thing. So Saladin YSG I think might be a better play than Saladin Minamoto in my opinion. So I think that's good. Now I might need another Tutmos, so let's just go ahead and find another Tutmos. You guys see that like my whole download spot is actually all filled with Rise of Kingdom stuff. There you go. So, KVK 1 S tier rallies. I think Saladin YSG. Saladin YSG is probably the best rally that you can run. For a couple reasons. For one, the only viable garrison that you'll be able to find in KVK 1 is Charles Martel YSG. Or any variation of that. Charles Martel with Richard. I don't recommend that, but some people use it. And Tutmos YSG I think is a really, really strong rally in KVK 1. Period. We have, I think that's it. I don't think there is really additional kind of comments that needs to be said beyond that. Like Tutmos YSG is OP in KVK 1 in my opinion, because you're going against the only infantry garrison in the game, and it just does a lot of damage as a whole. And in KVK 1, I think there is not a better rally than Tutmos YSG, especially because the meta of KVK 1 is going to be Charles Martel YSG or Charles Martel Sun Tzu, whatever it is that we will see. Alright. And I would say Minamoto at YSG is possible. Like if you're running cav rallies, let's give it a better Minamoto. Minamoto YSG is possible. I don't know if it's gonna be an S tier though, but it is what it is. It's the best cavalry rally that you'll have. And that's it. That's where I'll put it. Variation of that is Minamoto is double C. You can use Minamoto double C, but I don't think it's an S tier. It's an A tier in my opinion. Pierce YSG I think could be usable to a degree. Like Pierce has skill damage, YSG has skill damage and skill damage buff. Pierce makes it a little bit less. It does take less. It does have normal damage buff. 2 of the normal damage buffs built into his kit, so it's less swarmable. And also at the same time, he does have skill damage reduction, which is gonna be dealt from Charles Martel YSG in my opinion. So Pierce YSG I think is a really good S tier rally for infantry. As a matter of fact, I think Pierce YSG does deserve a better spot than Minamoto YSG. There you go. Hello, I'm back. I guess I missed a lot. No, you didn't miss. You didn't miss a ton, my friend. Don't worry. Yeah, I think that's probably the S tier rallies for KVK 1. I know some people run Charles Martel YSG. It's kind of like the worst version of Purist YSG in my opinion, It's a shielding version of it, tanky version of it. I would say it's better than Minamoto Double C though, because you know, for one, it does shielding, so and a lot of counterattack damage, so it is anti-swarmable, unlike Minamoto Double C. And yeah, I wouldn't use it for rally though. I would use that commander pairing for garrison more so than rally. So, but it is what it is. Some people use it, and let's just move on. Another pairing. I think I need a little more Minamotos, but I think Tutmos and Med is usable if you're rallying cities. Same reason for that. You can use YSG with Med if you're rallying cities. I think those are really good for city rally and city rally only, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to vouch for YSG and Med on an objective. Don't get me wrong on that. Then for same reason, Minamoto with Med for city rally is actually really good. Because it does a lot of skill damage against cities. And Med, if you look at his kit, we gotta look at Med's kit for me to kind of explain why he's so good for city rallies. So Med, if you expertise Med, I don't even have Med expertise on this account, but if you have expertise Med, you have 1350 damage factor in a cone. But if the target is city, garrison, or watchtower, you deal extra 800 damage factor and has 50% chance to deal 500 additional damage, right? So this skill all of a sudden becomes 2150 damage factor and has average DPS of 2400 damage factor with 2550 as maximum damage that you can do with the first active skill. This is a busted city rally mechanics that you have with Med. Now on top of that, he has this skill right here. Whenever this commanded troop launches a basic attack against the city, it has 10% chance to deal additional damage of 1000 damage factor to the city's garrison. Yeah, so he not only has some crazy busted 2550 damage potential with his active skill, he has extra 1000 damage factor potential that will trigger every 15 seconds. On top of that, he has 20% attack, 20% skill damage bonus, and 10% unit capacity, 10% rally capacity bonus. I think rally capacity bonus also works against city rallies too. So if you want to max city rally, yeah, Med is it, guys. Med is it. Med is just meant from the day one. Is meant for city rally here. City rally commander. It is usable, and if you want to zero 100 million player in KVK1, guess what? Your best chances are you use YSG with Med, or Tutmos with Med, or Minamoto with Med, and hope that it actually breaks, is my opinion. And there is a lot of occasions where you will be able to kind of rally those those people in KVK1. So that's why I think it is worth mentioning Med related rallies, even at the A tier. It's not going to be S tier because it's not going to work against objectives. And objectives is basically why you're running rallies. Why are you running rallies? Because you want to burn down flags, you want to burn down alliance fortresses. That's it, right? But if you're running CA rallies, guess what? Those three are busted rallies that you can run against cities. And KVK1, there's going to be a lot of cities that is going to be like sitting out of place because no one's going to think that, oh, it's KVK1. You're not going to attack my 90 million city. You're not going to rally my 90 million city. I'll take that. Well, guess what? If you see a YSG Med rally against your city from a very well-equipped person, I'll say run away, man. Like, because the damage factor difference between what you have and what he has is going to be really different. And if it's well reinforced, chances are that you're sitting my fall. Prince Boom is like so happy to see my pure CJ rally up there. Yeah, I might even put it up above Edward the Woodstock and Tamiris, just because of how accessible that is. Because this is a field rally, a field commander parry too, right? Like, this is not field commander parry. This is field commander parry. So what I would expect for my next KVK for my max LDB account, which has so many different, which is gonna be KVK 2 in 2025. What I'm gonna see, in my opinion, is gonna be I'm gonna see a lot of pure CJ rallies all over the place. I'm not gonna see a lot of Tamiris and Edward the Woodstock rallies. In my opinion, I'm gonna see a lot of Purist and CJ rallies. So that's what I'm expecting. I think that's gonna be true, just because a lot of people who are infantry main whales are gonna be building CJ with Purist all the time. And if you have it already built, why not use it for rally? You know what I mean? It's like there's no point, no reason for them to not use it for rally setup. So that's what I think is gonna happen. We'll see, and we might actually need to move this above Edward Woodstock and Tamiris, in my opinion. Anyways, I hope this was helpful for you. I don't know if you're still here, Christian Palion, in the chat, but this is my personal, from my experience, and from the testings that I did with Subutai Achilles, and from the things that I've seen in KVK1 in my recent restart project. This is my 2025 November best rally tier list that I've seen in Rise of Kingdoms. And I hope you actually enjoyed today's video. If you guys are watching this from a video setup, this was an hour-long video, so I really would like to apologize for such a long video. If this was helpful, though, please go ahead and drop me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And as always, still here, bro. Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you, Christian. Really, I hope this was helpful. Like, really. I know that I just made this out of blue. It just came out of nowhere. And hopefully this was really helpful. Again, if you guys found this tier list helpful, please go ahead and drop me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And again, I would put, if you're gonna leave a comment about Shapura Shavanapal and why is it behind Attila Subutai, I already explained it in the beginning part of the video. Please go ahead and watch the video all the way. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video though. If you guys did, please go ahead and drop me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. As always, I'll see y'all in the next video. Alright, peace!